And I think that's one of the most powerful words we could ever use, is what is your purpose? I played basketball in Italy for a while, and I traveled from where I lived in Como, Italy, to Lugano, Switzerland. I had to stop at the border, and the Border Patrol would ask you 3 questions. I made that trip quite a bit, so I knew the questions. So I rolled my window down, and the first question they would ask is where are you coming from? And I answered that question, and they wanted to know what my purpose for being there was today. After you tell them that, they'd ask you, well, what's your destination? Where are you going? And it may have been the 50th, 60th time I had made that trip, but on that particular day, those 3 questions resonated with me in a totally different way. I remember distinctly driving over to Lugano after I got served those questions and pulled over in the parking lot. And I sat there and I contemplated those 3 questions and what they really meant to me in that moment.
Yeah, like let's all take a moment and where are we coming from and what is our purpose and
we get stuck in the goal.
What's our destination?
A lot of us get stuck in trying to reach that goal, and sometimes we forget about our essence or upbringing or people who made us. So that's important. But the purpose, to me, staying in line with your purpose is what brings peace. If you have a purpose and you are in line with that and you're thinking about that daily, like, am I living on purpose? That's what brings me peace. If I feel like I'm living on purpose.
Welcome to this week's episode, everybody. We're heating up around here. And I'm not talking about the triple-digit weather in southern Utah. Mm-hmm. I'm not talking about the triple-digit weather. I'm talking about our guest list.
Oh, yeah.
Today, sitting to my right is the man, the myth, the legend, Big T, Thurl Bailey. Welcome, Thurl Bailey.
Thank you. Thanks for having me here.
Yeah, thanks for taking some time out of your busy schedule. I'm glad that the Jazz, there's no like conflict between, us and the Jazz. No. I'm sure you'd make us a higher priority than the Utah Jazz.
Well, right now, we just got the draft over with. Now we're just trying to get everybody in town, get ready for Summer League. But no, it's a perfect time.
Nice. That voice just sounds familiar from watching some Jazz games, man. It's cool. He's in our studio, right? I also got Jordan, the Burning Man Birmingham.
Oh, he did it.
That's right. There it is, baby.
My wife said, she heard the Burning Man thing the first time, she's like, oh, don't do that. That's controversial. I'm like, it's probably going to stick then. Let's do it.
You're a wild man, dude. That's just...
I've never been to Burning Man, but, yeah. Right.
I'm guessing none of us have, but if anyone has, speak up. I haven't.
And that voice was the doc, my day one, Terry
God.
Sellers.
There you go. Here we are, southern Utah. It is hot down here, by the way.
Yeah.
Not just the guest list, but the temperature as well.
Yeah, we played 18 holes yesterday, and afterwards I felt like a rotisserie chicken at Costco. You know what I mean? Like I was well done.
So we could buy you for $3?
Well, that's $5, but yeah, you probably could buy me for $3.
That's why you weren't wearing pants, because it was so hot. I get it now. The Facebook post makes sense.
Big T, welcome to this chaos. Yeah. Hey, this episode, we got to show some love to our sponsors. We appreciate them. First sponsor up is Diamond Detox. Let Diamond Detox be your first step on your path to hope, help, and healing. Call their toll-free and confidential number at 385-988-5332 or visit their website at diamonddetox.com. We appreciate their sponsorship. This episode is also brought to us by Wasatch Crest. Wasatch Crest is a leading provider of addiction and mental health treatment services, nestled in the scenic mountains of Park City and Heber, Utah. They have 4 mountainside facilities with a full continuum of care. What sets Wasatch Crest apart is their elevated treatment approach, separate men's and women's programs that provide personalized, tailored care to each client's needs. Backed by a passionate team of over 50 professionals, many in recovery themselves. Check out Wasatch Crest at wasatchcresttreatment.com or give them a call at 385-644-1500. This episode is also brought to us by Team Recovery. All 3 of these are just synergistic, right? Mm. Team Recovery. Team Recovery builds custom apps for all types of treatment providers. The app helps with referrals, admissions, client retention, and tracks outcome post-treatment. Learn more at recovery.io or give them a call at 866-824-2281. Last one is Rise Up Sups. Rise Up Sups is a nootropic supplement line aimed at optimizing brain function and supporting mental health. They have 2 powerful blends. The first is Mindful Mood, helps decrease anxiety and enhance mood. MindShift helps increase focus and optimize brain function. Place your order at riseupsups.com. At checkout, punch in promo code podcast20 to save yourself 20% off your entire purchase. We appreciate all of those organizations sponsoring this podcast.
Yep. Beautiful.
Help us do
Last
what
week
can
we
do.
went wild on those, huh?
We did.
had
We took
a 15-minute segment just talking about how great they all were. So today we'll keep it short and sweet. Get to Big T, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, speaking of today and Big T, it's your guest, man. Where do you want to go, Jay?
I don't know. I'm just excited to be here. It's been a few weeks, almost 2 months since I think been with Doc too. So I'm pretty excited to hear some of his remarks that come out, man. He's a character. I love Doc. Big T, thanks so much.
Yeah, man. It's good to
Coming
be
on.
here. Good to be here. Good weather for me. You know, I like the heat. But yeah, I'm just gearing up for the Jazz season to start. Get back on the road. We've got a couple really good draft picks, trying to get one in town. Ace Bailey.
Has Ace been in town yet?
Not yet. I know
Monday,
they're working on it. I think they got Clayton Jr. in town, but the summer league starts here real soon. So but
Some
I'm
exciting
excited.
stuff for the
I'm
Jazz.
very, very excited.
Where's Summer League? Is it in Vegas?
No, summer league's in Salt Lake.
Okay.
They're renovating Delta Center, so it'll be over at University of Utah campus now.
All right.
But summer league's always good just because you get all these young players, even some that were on the team last year. You get them just kind of a precursor to the season. Everybody's coming in trying to get to know each other again and try to take it to the next level. So
And get up on the pecking order too a little bit, right? Everybody's trying to show their case a little bit.
I mean, that's what it really is all
Everybody's
about, right?
competing for positions.
Yep.
I love that. I love when you have a young, raw, hungry group, and you got Will Hardy that's ready to just go to work.
Yeah.
He's intelligent. He's great with players. Great player coach. I'm super excited. I mean, the organization, the brilliance they have within the management, second to none in my opinion in the NBA.
Yeah.
They've built championship teams before, and they're here to do it for sure.
Just hired Austin Ainge, who is one of the most respected basketball executives in the NBA. Was in Boston with the Celtics for 17 years. Played at BYU. So yeah, I mean the personnel they've got in place, especially for this time, this type of player that's coming along now. The young player, it's a young man's league. I mean, you look
OKC.
You look what OKC did, and even Indiana, right? Pretty young team. OKC winning the championship, one of the youngest teams in a long time to win it. So I think they're kind of setting kind of a precedent in the league now. No longer are the superstars of the league kind of building these super teams. These GMs and owners are going out and getting these really young players who can buy in. And defense won that championship.
Yeah. Both
Right. I mean, yeah, you got to score, but when you score a lot of your points off making the other team turn it over, that's kind of a different thing in the NBA.
I loved
to get
it.
those young guys to buy
I
in.
loved that finals. So fun to watch. Both teams played hard.
Yeah.
Played the right way.
Felt bad for Tyrese Halliburton.
Oh man, that was so sad.
That's
so sad. Right.
I got kind of a one-off here.
Sure.
So Big T, I grew up, watching you play basketball. I feel like I still need to be pinched sitting here in the studio having you in here. So thank you, Doc. Yes, this is real. So talk to me about super teams, man. Back in your day, if you could wave a magic wand, who's the super team that you would have built with the players back when you played?
Well, I wasn't a big fan of super teams ever, but I think based on your question,
Yeah, it's a magical question.
yeah, I mean, there's only one basketball, so you've got to pick someone. I mean, you have to start at a guy like Michael. And I think Michael, based on your era and what you believe in, Mike is probably the guy at the helm of that team. And you look at what the Dream Team did with him on it, there's got to be some players within that. But I played with a guy who was not fancy, but just was a gym rat and got it done. So I could not leave John Stockton off that list. It's hard to leave Carl off the list too, but me being a jazz guy, I don't want to, sound like I'm just
Biased.
I am kind of, because I played with them both and I know how good they were, and everybody else knew how good that duo was together.
Yeah.
But if I'm just sticking in my era, I think, Magic Johnson's another one of those guys. There's so many of them. Hakeem Olajuwon.
Oh, yeah.
At the center position. Guy was just ahead of his time as far as footwork and the ability to score. Wow, how many is that?
Well, you got 2 point guards.
Well,
Magic can play a bunch of positions though. for sure.
positionless basketball.
Right.
Back in our day, Doc, it was like, you had a role, you were the 5-man. But I think even myself, I'm 6'11", I played the small forward.
Mm-hmm.
Carl was a power forward. Mark Eaton at 7'4" was the center. So that was a day and age where, a Larry Bird could play whatever position he wanted to play,
Right.
which is another guy I would probably look at on that team.
Mm-hmm.
Terry's just mad that you didn't include him in that lineup.
Could you imagine?
I can get water for everybody. I know that.
Hey, that's an important role
Yeah,
now.
that's right.
Towel,
we
don't
got-
forget
we
the
got-
towel.
We got Stockton, we got Magic, we got Bird, we got MJ, we got Hakeem.
It's a pretty good
that's-
five.
a pretty good five.
I don't know who's going to beat those guys.
That's a tough. I mean, there were a lot of competitive players. I mean, you talk about a guy. I mean, look at Dennis Rodman, right? Say what you want about him.
He helps you win.
The guy was a specialist.
Oh, yeah.
He knew how to get you a rebound. He knew how to, in crucial parts of the game, he would sacrifice his body. Couldn't throw it in the ocean from a boat, but but the guy was relentless.
Relentless.
And obviously he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame, but so many great players. It's just a different time now. Great players now. There are a lot of great players. Kevin Durant, those guys, LeBron James. But it's a different era of basketball. It's a great era. I'm not one of these guys that sits and says, "Oh man, I wish it was like it used to be." No, I understand the game's evolved. Players evolved. Athletes are more athletic than they were back in the day. They've got so much more to their disposal, and they've got a ton of money with it.
Yeah, I mean SGA, for example, is
I love that guy.
He is such a good basketball player.
Yeah. I think he could be the face of this league.
He is so good. He's like, it's hard to give comparisons. You get a little ahead of yourself, but I'm like, if MJ and Kobe had a baby, okay, like he's got a little skill set. Man, it's just.
There's another guy.
Doc, what do you think of those chromosomes? Is that going to work?
I don't know if they could have a baby, but I'll have to think that through in
whatever,
my
okay?
scientific mind.
Just roll with me.
These are magical questions. I already got that out of the way.
Remember, I'm an OBGYN by trade, so
That's fair.
I think that's not possible, but I'll have to check into it.
We'll get someone
I'm
else's
sure the
egg.
technology's coming, Doc.
Yeah.
I know. I'm just saying.
Well,
split the sperm. And
in
then
this
put
day
it
and
in an
age,
egg.
don't tell anybody they can't have a baby. 'Cause
Yeah,
they all
exactly.
can.
Exactly. Well, I love it because we knew having Big T on, we'd spend some time talking basketball because how could you not? And I love
Absolutely.
it. And knowing Big T for a while, we haven't got to just sit down and talk basketball much. And we're golfing tomorrow, so I'm excited. We'll hopefully have a few more moments to chat basketball because I'm a huge fan. I'm a huge Jazz fan, and I'm excited for that. But I guess we do have a recovery podcast to talk about too.
Well, first of all, before we get onto that,
Yeah.
do you play golf much?
I play quite a bit.
Yeah.
I'm not great at it. I know who's helped me a lot is Ron Boone. Ron Boone,
Oh, he's a golfer.
he golfs
Yeah, that's
probably every minute of every day for the season opens. But he's really good.
Yeah.
And we had the SEG tournament, Smith Entertainment Group tournament, a few weeks ago, and I'm really coachable. So he helped me with my swing,
There you go.
but I'm really inconsistent. So
Are your clubs longer? Have you had them lengthened?
yeah, I've had to have them lengthened
Are they 2 inches longer?
about 2 inches,
Yeah.
maybe a little over 2
it does make it harder though, no doubt.
Oh,
when
sure,
you're
there's
further
more-
away, there's more
Right.
room for error.
Right, absolutely.
It definitely makes it harder.
You notice a lot of the PGA touring professionals are not very tall guys.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's a lot of guys out there that Colin Morikawa and some of these guys are just not tall at all.
Yeah, it helps keep things a little bit less room for error and things like that. So last basketball question, just because of the draft that just happened.
It's not going to be last because I probably have more.
Sure.
Can I tell you
For
this?
sure.
I went to Chat GPT and I'm like, you're doing a podcast and you're interviewing Thurl Bailey. Generate some questions, and they were all basketball questions. So I'm great with it. This is good. How do you have the guy on and not talk basketball?
I know, and most people want to hear about it right now because it's a hot topic and stuff. But I do believe one of the things I heard, and you hear a lot of things, right? With Ace Bailey and Walter Clayton Jr., someone said that they're the two best difficult shot makers of the draft. And watching some of their plays, I mean, especially Walter Clayton, like that dude. Some of the shot making he did in his career so far, it's incredible. Just driving in, dribbling back, fading sideways any way, stepping off a leg one way or the other way. But Ace has a similar ability just of creating a shot and stepping through, getting double teamed, but still finding a way to jump sideways or over somebody. They're impressive.
And that's a great skill to learn in this day and age, especially young. I think Walter Clayton Jr., I watched him play in the NCAA tournament, and you could tell right away that is a young man who stayed in college, right? He went 4 years of college, 22 years old, so he's got a maturity to his game that a lot of times you don't see in young players. So it was a great pick for the Jazz, and it's really crazy too because it's the longer you stay in college as a basketball player, the more it hurts you. In the NBA, they're looking for young players they can develop. You look at all the draft picks, they're 18, 19 years old.
Yeah.
A lot of the second rounders are the guys who went back to school for that NIL money, which is another thing that has changed the game. Ace Bailey, with his size, he's kind of the prototypical player that a lot of teams are looking for. He's like 6'9" and can score. You can guard multiple positions defensively. So I think the Jazz, I think what they're saying is that the Jazz really won the draft really with being 100%. Able to get those two players.
Yeah, and Ace obviously maybe bumped himself by, I don't know what's real or what's not, some of the things they say about him not wanting to go work out with certain teams. And I think
it's all true.
Hurt his capital for sure, I think, as far as where he's at, but his skill set, like D. Wade said, if you have an option to pick Ace Bailey with your 5th pick, you don't hesitate. You pick him, right? And if there's any issue with playing in Utah or whatever, we'll either work through that, win him over, or he's a great trade asset for something later, something later on because he's got great.
Well, I think once
skills.
He gets here, and once he gets around the team, he gets around.
Culture's great.
It is. It really is. And I think there's some misconceptions out there. I got drafted in the first round back in 1983, and I didn't know a lot about Utah. But I got here, and, my basketball family was one thing, but I just kind of immersed myself into the culture. It was kind of a culture shock. Not a lot of black people.
Sure.
And that's the culture I grew up in. But the people were great to me. They were welcoming. The fans were second to none once we started winning. And I just think that once players come here, they give this culture a chance. They understand what the basketball culture is all about. They will just they'll be engulfed in love and respect, and they'll love it. And a lot of players who leave here wish they could come back or wish they didn't leave.
Yeah. I mean, you see the D. Wills and the Boozers, and they want to be a part of.
And they're both back.
Yeah. And I'm stoked about seeing them, getting back into the community and back into the culture. But I hope Ace can feel that. I think the team and the organization's culture is second to none. Outside of that, every team's going to have the haters and the talk and the people that just don't know basketball.
It's 2025, yeah.
Yeah, they're all going to talk. So hopefully they don't pay attention to all that too much and they focus on just what Will Hardy and the organization's put together here and go play some good basketball. So excited about that.
I love it, man.
Doc, don't talk so much.
You heard it first on my podcast. Big T, I'm pretty sure he just said that we're going to get a ship this year. Right? Championship? Is that 2025?
I think that's what
talking about. Junior Jazz?
We got a shot.
Slow down. Slow down.
Okay, all right.
Might need a few years.
Yeah, it's going to be a young team.
But again, because of OKC and the young teams doing it, like it's exciting because it gives you hope, right? Because you're not like, I have to have that seasoned vet superstar and like the 2 or 3 superstars that've got, experience, and then you build some good players around them, and you need 5 years minimum to really build a championship team. Now it's like you just need 2, maybe 3 years to gel with a young team that can all play and share the ball and play defense.
They've got some great pieces.
You got a
really,
chance.
really good pieces.
So
and even before the draft, there's some good people. Isaiah Collier, the way he came on last year, Kyle
he's a
Filipowski.
floor general like I've never
These are late
seen.
draft picks,
Yeah.
right? And so
Didn't you love how Isaiah came in? Bold statement early on that I'm going to beat Stockton's record of assists. He said it, and now he's already beat his rookie record. Like he's the
he might not beat many more of those records.
I know he's got to play a long
That's
time.
a good one to start with.
Yeah, but still, I love that, and he is one heck of an assist man
He
and
is.
a great point guard and a bulldog in there that I appreciate for sure.
I love it.
That's
And Big
about
T,
an
you
hour on
probably-
basketball already.
Yeah, no, it's great. It's good, man. I think that how we tie it in is it's like when we talk about golf, this is a podcast about recovery from addiction, and to a lot of us, our recovery involves things that we're passionate about. And I think it would be a disservice to sit here with Thurl Bailey and not talk some basketball. So
Absolutely.
it's good with that kind of being said.
Well, I'm gonna transition it then.
Let's do it.
What does John Stockton have that Collier doesn't? He did it over and over and over and over and
consistency.
over and over and over. Right? There you go. If you stay consistent in recovery.
Mm-hmm.
And we've all got friends that have been in recovery that didn't necessarily stay consistent, right? Jared and I were talking about a couple of guys on the way over that just didn't do the same thing over and over and over.
Mm-hmm.
And for the people that I know that have stayed in long-term recovery, they just do the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
They wake up and they do the same thing every day. And it sounds boring, but I'm still clean and sober 22 years later.
The team at Diamond Detox is compassionate, helpful, and trained to support every step of the healing journey. Your loved one's path to a healthier, happier life starts with a free and easy 20 to 30-minute assessment over the phone or a few questions submitted online on the Diamond Detox website. Assessments and admissions occur 7 days a week, depending on availability. To begin the path to recovery, visit diamonddetox.com or call 385-988-5332.
So next week I'll hit 11 years, right? And the thing that I can hang my hat on is 2 things. I always say this. Human connection got me sober, right? People caring about me enough to check in on me, building relationships. That human connection, first and foremost, was the biggest piece that pulled me out of the mud. The second is my routine. And that's what we're talking about right now, right?
Yep.
My consistent routine. I can tell you what I'm going to be doing next Tuesday at 2:00, right? Like I'm a pretty consistent cat, but there's safety in consistency. There's safety in consistency, and so, yeah, I love it. I want to take us back, if you guys don't mind. Big T, you came on when the first episode Jordan did with us, where he came on to the podcast and chatted with us. I don't remember what number it was. If you're listening to this, throw it in the comments if you know what number it is.
183.
This is like 171.
I
But
just made that up.
but Big T came on for like 5 or 10 minutes. He was getting ready to go announce a basketball game, and he showed us some love. Let's go back to that. Like, I think I asked you, what makes this near and dear to your heart? Because this is like a passion of yours, right? Is mental health and substance abuse, and just like Jordan says, people helping people. Why is that so near and dear to your heart?
Well, I think my passion is people. I lived in a world for many years where I was exposed to a lot of things. I mean, we were just talking about basketball. That world in itself comes with a lot.
Sure.
It comes with addiction. It comes with, on the other side of things, it comes with being routine. It comes with being around a family, a basketball family. It comes with a lot of travel. So it's probably nothing I haven't seen or been close to or seen someone be affected in a way. John Drew, for instance, if you look up John Drew, NBA basketball, my rookie season, I came in, it was my first or second season when the Jazz played half their home games in Las Vegas. This was a different move for the Jazz. The Batterstones owned the team. We weren't sure whether we were going to survive financially in Utah. So they were looking at other ways to bring in more revenue, possibly move the team somewhere. And so I think John Drew had just come back from winning Comeback Player of the Year. He had an addiction to, not sure which drug. I know cocaine was involved. That was kind of the drug of choice back then. I was on the elevator with him in Las Vegas, and he looked at me and he said, "Thurl, you're going to be a great player. You're coming in here and putting your stamp on the team." He said, "Don't ever, ever get caught up in the drug scene." He said, I came back from it, but I mean, he honestly told me, he said, "But it's hard." He said, "I don't trust myself." And sure enough, about a year and a half later, he goes missing on the road in Oakland. We're all on the bus. We're waiting for him, and he doesn't show up for 2 days. And then he shows up on the bus just out of the blue on another day, and then Frank Layden comes up on the bus and pulls him off the bus. That was pretty much the end of his career, because you only get 3 strikes back then. I think it's still the same today. So yeah, I mean, yeah, it's near and dear to my heart, because I have been close to a lot of people who have been victims, and some who have come out of it, and some who have not been able to, and we lost them. So yeah, I have a platform. I've worked hard to build this platform, just like all of you sitting here. You have a platform that you're using for good. One, because you've been there, right? And so I just decided a long time ago that if I've ever was in a position that I could help, and not just in this way, but in other ways as well. I mean, I train little kids in basketball, kids who may not ever play in high school or college or pros, but when they're with me, they learn a lot about themselves. Like, they learn a lot about what putting the work in means, about having a routine, about having a plan every single day if you're going to get better. Don't just go out and shoot. Go with a plan, and stay organized. So yeah, that's why I'm here. That's why I'm 64 years old. Most of the kids I train never saw me play, but there's something that they've been told by their parents or grandparents. They've read. They know that I'm the one to come to for that particular training. And just like you guys, right? People know what you've been through. They know what you stand for. They know the success you've had. And so that's why we're all here, to serve.
I love it, man.
To serve, to help people. It's beautiful. I love. He sent me a link to a little segment we did the other week about people helping people and just making that the priority. And it's just what it's all about to me. It's what makes the world go round.
And you know what I love about Big T sharing that story of his experience, early on with his teammate, is it just goes to show, like, this thing doesn't, I think oftentimes from a social standpoint, people look down on others with substance abuses, and there's that stigma that we talk about, right? And it's like, oh, those people, or those homeless people, or people that come from this type of background or this type of social economic status. And this is a guy that you played with in the NBA. Like that, it does not.
Has no bias.
It crosses all barriers, right? It's a disease of the brain, or at least that's what I believe it is.
Yeah, and I think there was another friend of mine that played in the NBA, and on the mental health side, I think it's important to maybe note how important meaningful purpose is, and finding purpose, and your passions and hobbies and routines. But with this individual, and I won't say his name just so He can keep his anonymity, but he shares this story openly. We did a 3-on-3 tournament together about a year and a half ago. It was awesome. I probably shouldn't have been playing with all my knee surgeries, but I went hard in that 3-on-3 tournament, trying to play like I used to. But with him sharing his story, he talked about all his success and getting to the NBA, and he said he was shooting a free throw in front of, 40,000 fans and whatnot. And he just kind of thought, like, this is it? Like, I've been working so hard to get to this level so that I could be happy, feel worth. And his worth was so dependent on his success in basketball. But when he got there, he's just like, this is it? And he talks about that night crawling out the window of his hotel. It's like, I'm done. If this is it, like, life's not that great. Like, this is just hard. It takes a ton of effort, and there's a ton of criticism, and I'm critical of myself. And if this is it, life's not worth living. And he was so close to jumping, ending his life. And he shares the story, and it's really, really, deep, and talks about how once he found, youth programs, helping youth and helping people get healthy, and he started doing some of these wellness retreats, he found this purpose, this meaning that was so much bigger than basketball. And once he plugged into that, he's just been doing really well and loving life more. And so it's important to find a meaningful purpose, something that's bigger than yourself. And when I did groups, we'd talk about how, try to serve into something that's bigger than yourself, right? A higher power is great. It's bigger than you. A community, a nonprofit, something else that's bigger than you. If you can be engaged in that, an AA group, and sponsor and all that stuff, something bigger than you usually is something that's going to keep you feeling like life is worth living. It's meaningful, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
I think that goes along with one of the early clips from one of the early episodes we did with these guys where you sent that clip to me, and it was, happiness is not out there. You're not gonna go find happiness. Happiness is right here. And if you carry that with you all the time, you'll be happy. If you're looking at a destination down the road to find your happiness, you'll never get there. It's not there. It's right here. Wake up, find it, be joyful that day, do your best, go to bed, repeat.
I love that. Matthew McConaughey has a really good saying about joy. The joy is pursuing your purpose that you believe in, but you enjoy the process.
Right.
So that's how you have joy every day, is you enjoy the process of where you're headed. You're not waiting till you get there to be happy.
Right.
You enjoy the process.
Yep.
I love that.
Yeah. Well said. And to be fair though, I especially in a young man, right? Like I look back on like me in my early 20s, the narrative in my head was like, I'll be happy when, right? So like when I was in high school, I'll be happy when I get a scholarship to play football. I'll be happy when I make the first, starting team. I'll be happy when we win a championship. And so chasing that can be brutal, like your buddy that you just shared about, and always in the pursuit of and never feeling like you obtain. And then you hear a lot of these legends who have had tremendous success, whether it's in NASCAR or basketball or football, where they win a championship. They reach their peak, the highest of the highest. And then, they get on the bus and they're like, that was it. Like that was what I've been chasing my whole life. Like just in that was it. And so I think it's important to have something outside of that, like I shared, God willing, in a week I'll hit 11 years. And I think a big part of that is there's this person that sits and does this podcast, and there's this person that works in this industry and helps people, whether it's in a counselor role, whether it's in a community outreach role. Like there's that version of me, but that version of me is no good if I don't have the home version of me. If I don't have the version of me that spends time with my family, if I don't have the version of me that's the real small things that make life joyful and the real small things that truly bring me happiness, if that stuff isn't right, none of the other versions of me are right.
The essence of you.
Yeah.
Learned that in my mastermind group about the essence. And we did a cool meditation and kind of took us back to, we kept thinking about what's the essence of who I am. And then we went back another 10 years and back another 10 years. And you get back to where you're just the earliest memory of who you are. It's like, that's the essence of you. And remembering that part of you and carrying that through, not letting all the stuff through the years and the disappointments and the failures taint who you are. Totally. Of the essence of you. And if you can stay true to who you are, to your essence, and serve people, man, it was a beautiful meditation. That was the one I think the other day about, experiencing your death and really visualizing that. And I think you were like, "Is this a cybacillum?" Or like, "Were you tripping? What were you doing in this?" Like, no, it was just a deep meditation. But yeah, I love that.
How much MDMA were you on at that point?
Zero. Zero.
Hi, my name's Jim Huffman. I'm the founder and CEO of Wasatch Crest Treatment Services. We're located in Heber City, Utah, amongst the beautiful Wasatch Mountains. We offer a full continuum of care, and what that means is that, we can support our clients and their families from day one all the way through their entire recovery journey. Our goal here at Wasatch Crest is for this to be your last time in treatment and the beginning of a life in recovery that will bring you joy and fulfillment and a sense of healing to you and your family and to those who love you.
To learn more about Wasatch Crest, call me, Jared, directly at 385-644-1500 and check out the website at wasatchcresttreatment.com.
So with Thurl Bailey, with that being said, like Big T, I'm sure you've gone through ups and downs and lefts and rights and all kinds of stuff in your career and your family life. I know personally, I'm sure you've had some mental health struggles. It sounds like you've never, because of some good advice, you've never really dipped a toe and been addicted per se. What are some of the challenges that you've gone through your life, your career, and what were the anchors in your life that really kept you from having the ship turn over, if you will?
Well, I think we're all, in a sense, alike in that way, where it's about the journey. We all have traveled our own journeys, and look, I go back a lot. I mean, I talk about the point in my professional career where I really had to figure out my purpose. And I think that's one of the most powerful words we could ever use, is what is your purpose? I played basketball in Italy for a while, and I was in my 30s, so I was kind of in my prime, towards the end of my career, if you will. And I traveled from where I lived in Como, Italy, to Lugano, Switzerland. I had to stop at the border, and the Border Patrol would ask you 3 questions after they looked at your passport and your visa. And I made that trip quite a bit, so I knew the questions. So I rolled my window down, and the first question they would ask is where are you coming from? And I answered that question, and they wanted to know what my purpose for being there was today. After you tell them that, they'd ask you, well, what's your destination? Where are you going? Mm. And it may have been the 50th, 60th time I had made that trip, but on that particular day, those 3 questions resonated with me in a totally different way. I remember distinctly driving over to Lugano after I got served those questions, and pulled over in a parking lot, and I sat there and I contemplated those 3 questions and what they really meant to me in that moment. So I went back to the first one about where you're coming from. That's about my past. We all have it. Some of us want to avoid it because it's terrible. I tell people, don't avoid your past. Hopefully you learn from it. But the first thing that came to my mind when I thought about that question was my mother. Like, I'd go home as an adult and I'd act up, and my mom would come and right up beside me and put her fists. Look, my mom didn't play. She was from the South.
Sounds like my mom.
Not Southern Utah. I'm talking about North Carolina, growing up in the civil rights era. My mom would put her fist against my chin and said, boy, don't you ever forget where you came from. Mm. And sometimes I couldn't tell whether she was serious, but I knew she could knock me out. So my mom didn't play. So it was so crazy because I giggled for a minute because that's what I thought about when I thought about my past, the first thing. And I thought about all those things my mom had taught me about not bringing C's home. We could not bring home a C grade or below. And as a student, as a young student, I'm thinking like a C is passing.
Mm-hmm. Right.
My mom said, no, C's average. I don't raise average kids in here. I don't ever want you to be average. Look around you. Look where we're going. My parents were out protesting. They were at the I Have a Dream speech when Dr. Martin Luther King came to town. My dad was out getting, sicked on by dogs because he was protesting. So they educated us on what was going to help us become successful as human beings, and it was education. And so I'm sitting in my car thinking about all this stuff, and then I got to the second question, which was, she asked me what purpose was I here for today. And I'm thinking, purpose, man. I got all this stuff. I'm making all this money. I'm playing a game I love in short shorts and the tank top. They're paying me really good, Jordan, to play. And I've accumulated this wealth, this game, all these things. What's my purpose? What am I going to do? What am I supposed to be doing with all this? I'm not selfish enough to think that this is just mine. Nobody's going to touch it. But there's a powerful platform being built. And so my realization was this basketball is not going to last forever. And so you've got notoriety, you've got fame, you've got family, you've got all these things. What am I supposed to be doing with this? And so I'm contemplating this thing, and I got to the last question, which was, she wanted to know what my destination was. So I'm thinking, well, what do I see myself doing in 3 to 5 years? What if I couldn't play tomorrow? What am I prepared? What have I prepared in my life to do with all this I've accumulated? So when I left that day, it just kind of gave me this sense of those 3 questions to revisit in my life, to see where I was, kind of like a scorecard, and not just in basketball, but in all phases of my life, my relationships, my family, my spiritual life. So it really kind of helped me pull everything into play and have these guidelines that I would follow. But I know that was a long way to get around the answer to your question. But,
bro, that was beautiful.
but for me, I think the difficult times that I've had, I don't feel like I've ever, there are times when I was very tempted to just jump into the group and do what they were doing, knowing that it could be devastating to me or my career or my family. And I think some of those things that helped pull me away from that or made it easier for me to say no was just thinking of those strengths like my mom. I never wanted to disappoint her. Mm-hmm. Never wanted to disappoint my dad, who worked so hard, who spent nights in prison because he was out trying to support his family and do what he had to do. So those things were a little bit stronger, I think, than my will or my ability to want to change the course of my life. It wasn't easy though. All the money you're making, all the things you have access to, all the places that you could go and, partake.
Mm-hmm. I think that's cool that you stayed true to where you came from, though. And how like serendipitous is it that your dad's out like protesting and trying to create social change, and it sounds like raising you and your family, and little does he know one day what he's doing is going to form your reality.
Yeah. Like
if he would have known at that time that he had a big T in the future who was going to have this platform and is going to have, these amazing talents and be such a good human being and give back to others and do all the stuff that you're doing now, like that's mind blowing to me. Maybe I'm only the only one on this trip, right? But it's like,
well, that's his job. He was my father.
Yeah.
She was my mother. I mean, that's the responsibility they have, especially at that time, to protect their family, to raise their family in an environment that could take them. And so their job, and all of our jobs as parents, is to do the best that we can do. Because at some point, we won't have, they're on their own, right? I'm on my own, so I make my own decisions. But everything that they thought I wasn't listening to, I was listening.
For sure.
I got a story from you've told me, maybe this will go along with what you're saying of a trial, and I'm curious of what mentally you did to try to overcome it. I think you mentioned, and correct me if I'm wrong, but there was a time, was it high school or something, and you had like a junior high school coach that told you not to play, you weren't good enough type of thing. And so what helped you? Because that's got to be mentally challenging to just not just give up and believe in yourself. So what did that take? And is that from a parenting standpoint, or is that with some inner will?
Well, it was once you discover, I think, something, all of us have been in this position. Once you discover something that you're interested in or you want to pursue, it takes a lot of work, right? It takes a lot of people on your side to help kind of keep you in that. Well, I wanted to play basketball. I saw Dr. J do it. I wanted to be like him. And so I tried to get on that path. They always talk about success leaves clues. I read about Dr. J, and I wanted to follow that path to be. I actually didn't want to be like him. I wanted to be him. Grew my fro out and everything. It's always crooked, but it was trying to be like Dr. J. But yeah, I knew he played organized basketball. I was tall. I was 6'4", 6'5" in the 7th grade. And that started my journey to want to play. And I was a really good student. I played 3 instruments in the bands. I was pretty successful in other things. Sports was new to me. So I tried out for the team my first year. I was the tallest guy. There was 50 kids in there, and none of them came past my waist. So I figured,
got a chance.
The rim's 10 feet from the floor. I'm closer to the rim than all these little chumps in this room. Got cut. Man, my name wasn't on the list, so I was devastated. And that's what failure is, right? I was so passionate about wanting it. It was so painful to fail like that. But I had my support group, right? My family kind of encouraged me to keep working, so I did. Tried out in the 8th grade at 6'7", got cut again. And as a young teenager, it's crazy because although you have your support system with your family and everything, there's a part of you that, what am I doing this stuff for, man? All I'm going to do is find failure. But the thing that helped me was the moment I got cut from that team, didn't see my name on that list. That coach who cut me came out of his office and called me over and crossed his arm, walked up to me, looked up to me and said, "Son, you just aren't good enough to play this sport. And I don't have time to teach you how to play." So basically he said, don't, go do something else. Don't come out for my team next year because I'm looking to win a championship now with guys who already know the game. I can understand that. I was horrible. I couldn't play. And to your point, Jordan, that moment probably helped me more than any other because now I had a choice to make. I knew I probably wasn't going to play for him ever. But did I love it enough to continue on that path, or was I going to let that failure send me down another path? Even at 12 or 13. And so, fortunately for me, that coach got a higher paying job somewhere, and they hired a new coach the next year, and I had to make a decision whether to go down. I wanted to go down that path again, and I chose to go back into that gym that year at 6'9" in the 9th grade. I still wasn't very good. But the new guy, Coach Cole, came in, and it was different. The guy welcomed everybody in. He locked the door at a certain time. He said, Congratulations, he said. And we all looked at each other, like 60 of us. We hadn't even started practice yet. And he told us all congratulations. We were wondering why. And he says, well, congratulations for walking through the door.
Mm.
Sometimes that's all it takes is for you to walk through that door. Sometimes it's hard. Because there's guys outside this door now that it's too late for them right now this year. And so, we went through the practices. This guy was an amazing coach, amazing leader. He cared. You could tell. It wasn't about just the best players. He gave everybody attention. He made me feel like I knew I was the worst one in the gym, but he made me feel like I had a shot. And sure enough, my opportunity came. I wasn't the best player in that gym out of 60 kids, but I made the team. He cut better players to keep me. He brought me into his office about a week after we started practice, and he said, Thurl, if you want to be a really good basketball player, you've got a lot of work to do. A lot. He kept saying a lot. He said, but if you commit, you guys know that word.
Oh, yeah.
If you make this commitment, I'm going to be there with you, but you got to make the commitment. I will come in 1 hour before the team practices, and then we'll practice for 2 hours, and I'll stay with you 1 hour after. Who does that? Who commits that much time to somebody that they barely knows? And I wondered why he would do that. And he told me, I see potential in you. I see potential that you don't even see in yourself. And I think you can take this and run with it. I'm going to help you do it if you want to commit to it. So that taught me a lot. It still teaches me a lot today when I have to deal with people. When I see others who don't take the time, and I say, it's not about me right now. Yeah, I don't mind signing your autograph. It may be an inconvenient time, but you'll never know that. Because that's kind of the way I've been built. I've been brought up. It's not about me at that moment. And so people like to know, well, did you go back to that coach that cut you twice just when you made the NBA? I said, yeah, I went back to him. I called him, went to D.C. We were playing the Washington Bullets. I invited him to lunch, and I thanked him. I said, Coach, look, you were right. I mean, I couldn't play. You knew what you wanted. You had no obligation to keep me. But I want you to know that I stuck with it. And this is where I ended up. Here's 6 tickets to the game tonight. And I gave him tickets every time we went to that city. But what it taught me was there's a certain lens we see people with. Right? And my lens is the lens of when a person comes to me, I always feel like they have potential to be great. I may not even know them that well, but they've got potential. There's some potential in there somewhere with what they want to achieve. And it may come through me to show them a little bit. Maybe it's basketball, maybe it's speaking, maybe it's something else. And you guys see it each and every day. Mm-hmm. You see people who are struggling. See people who other people don't believe in. See people who are afraid to walk through that door. And so, yeah, what we do is not so much different because it's not about us, right? It's about what we have and what we can offer and the potential that we see that people can be better. So
I love that. And I was going to say to viewers or listeners, what I'm hearing and thinking about when you're talking is finding that coach, that mentor, that sponsor, that leader, someone in your life that does give you the time, that is willing to not make it about them, to see the potential in you and to bring you along. We all need that in our life, and it's so beautiful when you can find somebody that's willing to help you and actually see you for who you could be, not who you are in the moment. And I remember, I don't want to get too far down the path, but I remember some really good speeches I've heard about, the Christ-like love and looking at someone that way, like not for all their faults, not for all their sins, not for all the things they've done wrong, but who they could be in their essence and in their full potential when given the right tools, opportunities, structure, those types of things. And I love looking at people that way. And we do that every day in our industry, because someone's coming to us with a lot of problems, with a lot of faults, with a lot of mistakes, with a lot of thinking errors, with a lot of lies, with a lot of deceit, and their family is giving up on them.
But a lot of potential.
Yeah. And it's our job to help them see that, heal enough to believe that, and then actually become it. It's beautiful.
So we've made developing an app very affordable, and we do it really quick.
We are the only mobile app development company in the behavioral health space and the only constant throughout a client's entire life cycle, from pre-admissions to 10 years sober.
Now with new technology, we can develop a high-quality app in a fraction of the time. Now that we've done this with hundreds of partners all across the country, we can get this done within 6 weeks. An hour of your time is all it requires per week over that time, and just like that, your app's done. Developed on the Google Play Store and the Apple App Store.
On the front end, we know we can help increase conversions. While the patient's with you, we work on retention and engagement, and moving on into post-treatment, we collect a lot of readmissions and referrals.
Get your agency an app. Give them a call at 866-824-2281 or visit their website at teamrecovery.io.
Dude, I feel like what he's sharing, like I've been preaching on this podcast for 5 years. Like what he just talked about is literally what I was trying to share in our last episode. Like people get people sober. Like it's when somebody comes along that cares enough to take time to develop you and cares enough to see the potential that you have and to develop that potential. It's that connection that I feel like. I don't want to go off on a tangent too much here, but like I was texting Doc last night and I'm like, I feel like a lot of my friendships are transactional. I feel like we're starting to, in this world that's transforming and everything's got to be monetized and everything's about making money or likes or follows and all this, like it's to some degree, we're losing that authentic human connection, and I think that that's a big part of whether it's coaching somebody, whether it's sponsoring somebody, whether it's being a counselor and helping somebody get through all the tough stuff that you just talked about, Jay. It's truly at its core. Like I've heard my buddies that, work as therapists and counselors, they say, man, AI is just going to replace us one day. And no way, like there's no way, because that connection, that human connection is so huge. Mm-hmm. I can think about, like, to bring my guy Terry in on this, like when I first started this podcast, I was just a dude that was really like excited about my recovery and kind of a loudmouth and kind of obnoxious and kind of just wild and crazy and maybe attention seeking. And like the one guy that would come on as a co-host was Terry, and we were talking last night, like, man, he's changed my whole world. Like I used to think Olive Garden was bougie, and now we're eating it like Painted Pony, and and I lost the passion for sports when I stopped playing college football, and now I'm playing golf twice a week. This dude changed my life in a lot of ways, and I feel like when we all can take time to slow down and forget about kind of all the noise and really get back to like those authentic relationships, they're huge. Like Thurl Bailey sitting here getting emotional talking about experiences that he had that were life changers. If I could be that person for one other person, man, let me die happy. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Penny for your thoughts, Doc.
I got thoughts.
Are you even awake this morning?
I got thoughts.
Do we need to get some more Dr. Pepper in you?
You guys are talking great. I don't need to interrupt you guys. So I don't know the number. You're probably one of the 1,000 best basketball players ever in the history of the world. That would be enough to define most people, right? I mean, most people would just be, I'm a basketball player. You've released albums of music. You play the saxophone. What else do you play?
Trombone, tuba.
And tuba. Where did that drive come from?
My upbringing.
Yeah.
Music came before basketball, way before. I used to wake up in the morning. We couldn't afford the alarm clock, so my dad had this old record player, and most mornings, my wake up would be music. And I knew exactly where it was coming from. It was coming from my living room. My parents would be dancing in the living room pretty much every morning. It was a routine for them.
How cute is that?
That's cool, man.
And so that really instilled what music meant to me. That was my thought process was, okay, music's related to my parents dancing in the living room. They love each other.
Yeah.
And so that's really what got me into loving music. And then my parents bought me this little turntable with a little 45 record, the 45 record with one song on each side. Mm-hmm. And so that really got me into music. And then as I got it more into academics, I needed an outlet. So my parents said, well, you can pick an instrument. So I picked the trombone first, probably because my arms were so long I could reach the...
Yeah, there you go.
But that was always the thing. And then I sang in choirs and madrigals and everything. So music's always been, and still is, really important in my life because it's a song for any mood you're in.
Sure.
Right. And I'm one of those guys. I'm very, I'm a romantic, right? I mean,
yeah.
My wife, when I was courting her, I sang, when we ended up getting married, I sang at our wedding. I write little songs. I'd make those little mixtapes for her back in the day. And so, music was always a big deal to me. And I'm still putting out musical projects. I have a project I did with Billy Dean, great country music singer, and a guy named Marvin Goldstein, kind of a spiritual project, and an R&B project, the music I grew up on. But it's crazy because I'm really in the country now. And I think I married into it mostly because the only country I knew, there was a song back in the day called Sail On Down the Line. And it was the first kind of country song I heard. And I found out who it was. It was Lionel Richie. I'm like, it's a black dude. It's not country.
Yeah.
And then I found out that Lionel Richie wrote a lot of music for Kenny Rogers. Mm-hmm. So that kind of got me started in the country scene. But country now is storytelling. And that's what I love. I love storytelling. I love things that tell a story about life. And that's what I do as a speaker. And music's a big deal. Big deal.
I love that. And I love there's the love with his parents, the love and music together. And I wondered to myself, like, the things that we end up being passionate about, was there an early memory of some strong emotion that connected, and I'm like thinking of those things. My brother watching football when I was really young, and our love and the connection we had while watching football made a passion there. And just different things that makes me wonder, like, if that's really what comes for a lot of us, is that connection to love, and that activity makes it resonate. Yeah.
I think most things we do have a connection, right? Yeah. I mean, a memory. That's why I think when I talked about the past, those things are so important, right? That's your legacy. That's where it started. And moving forward, that's our journey. And that's kind of what music is for me. It's always about a journey. So when I'm writing, if it's about the love for my wife, it's about the journey we've been through. Not all of it good, right? We all have our ups and downs. That's what makes the journey so interesting. But yeah, all those things are just so important for us.
I wonder if there can be a more important thing for a kid than seeing his parents dancing in the living room. Like, what a great thing for a kid to see, right?
Nat King Cole.
Oh, yeah.
Frank Sinatra.
These guys don't know who
Sam
Nat King
Cooke.
Cole is.
And they love, yeah.
I wondered if we were going to get Big T to sing his favorite verse of something, Like, that feels like...
Well, we got a tiny bit of a Lionel Richie tune.
Yeah, you just got a little sail on.
Yeah, I heard it. Yeah. So got me a little excited.
Yeah, I know.
Got me a little excited.
It's nice to have a voice.
Yeah, he's got a lot of talents for sure.
No question.
What are the questions you got, Doc? You got good ones. Let's hear another one.
I don't have anything else. I barely hear. Are you kidding me?
So to be fair, Terry usually doesn't roll out of bed until like 11, 1 o'clock.
I am not a morning person. I have not gotten started
Unless
yet.
it's for golf, right?
Yeah,
if it's for golf,
I can get up
he'll make a 5 a.m. tee time. But
Yeah, I thought today was at 9. And then when I went back to the message, I'm in bed about 11. And I was like, 8 a.m.? Oh, I better get to bed soon.
I didn't go to bed till about 2:30 this morning. So
yeah, Big T's probably up at 5:30, 6:30 in the morning most mornings, ready to rock
Actually,
and roll.
that's pretty true.
Yeah. Strike me as that kind of guy.
it is
routine.
that's a great quality, though. That people that get things done in life, they get up at 5:30.
Early bird gets the worm.
Yep.
That's mostly because of my wife. She starts making the bed while I like to stay in there.
Get out of here. I'm making the bed.
She was raised on a farm,
There you go.
cattle ranch in Richfield, Utah.
Up with the sun.
So she knows how to work.
Wow.
Yeah.
Up with the sun.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, I love it because really today, if I could think of what it's all about in this show, Jared, what you guys have created here, it really is about people helping people and the connections. And with Big T's life and legacy, it seems like it's all just, doesn't matter if it's recovery, it's basketball, it's life. And to succeed in life, you need other people to show you the way to care. Started from his parents, showing him and loving him the right way and teaching him how to be the best person he could be. And then having coaches give a little time, extra effort, extra time and care, and then a little bit of discipline, a little bit of, desire and passion and finding some purpose, and you have success, and then use that success to turn around and help someone else. It's beautiful. And Big T is such a great, authentic example of service and wanting to help people in genuine ways. Like he's a genuinely good human being.
absolutely, I love I feel like the golden nugget was that where you talked about being overseas, and it was Italy, right? Mm-hmm. And just those 3 questions, where are you coming from? What's your purpose? What's your destination? I think that's huge. A lot of us, myself included, can get stuck in where are you coming from? Like that past, and so I think that in and of itself, like I love that golden moment of let's all take a moment and where are we coming from and what is our purpose and
or get stuck in the goal.
What's our destination?
A lot of us get stuck in trying to reach that goal, and sometimes we forget about our essence or upbringing or people who made us. So that's important. But the purpose, to me, staying in line with your purpose is what brings peace. If you have a purpose and you are in line with that and you're thinking about that daily, like, am I living on purpose? That's what brings me peace. If I feel like I'm living on purpose.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. No question. I also was going to say, I love too that now it's so funny when I sit down with somebody and have conversation and really kind of get to know them. I feel like their image or the way I see them changes. It's the weirdest thing, but it's been a really cool experience to sit here and get to know Big T a little bit better. And if you couldn't tell when I was reading those taglines, the sponsorship tag, I was so nervous at the start of this thing. And now, he's just a dude, right? He's just a good human being sitting around. So I feel like I've settled in now that we're approaching the end of this. I finally have, a little less nervous, but I appreciate it.
He is just a dude, but he's way cooler than
He is legit, but to your point, I mean, the jazz, he still holds some jazz records.
Yeah.
The guy is legit.
Right.
Bro, you don't got to tell me. I watched him.
I know.
I would watch him, and then I'd go out in the front yard and try shooting. You know what I mean?
Little baby hooks and stuff.
Oh yeah, man.
I love watching the game and saying things. And my wife's like, "You two are saying the same thing. He says it right after you. You say it right after him." Because we have a similar basketball mind, I think. And every time there's a big man move, or there's a baby in the house, or it's just fun to watch him. And he's an incredible basketball player with a great career and history and legacy. And now the legacy turns to service and helping people. I love it.
And I think that's really what this whole podcast is all about. When me and Doc started this 5 years ago, it was to this day, we don't make money doing this, it's like, who can we reach? How can we reach some people and spread a message of hope? And
You're
if
not
somebody's
getting paid. I make like $500,000 a year doing this podcast.
and having Big T come on, like, he's going to reach some people that frankly we can't reach. Right. And so if anything, Big T coming on today, taking the time to come on a podcast about recovery from addiction and some mental health stuff, and just knowing, like, really, like let's take a dent in that stigma. Like, let's get people talking about, it's okay to talk about it. If you're struggling, talk about it. If you need some help, the only thing worse than not reaching out is staying in suffering in silence.
Yeah.
And so if having Big T come on and share, that he's played basketball with people that have struggled with substance abuse issues, and, and so there's no shame in it.
Yeah,
right?
Just like that walking through the door, the coach said, congratulations. It's like people giving us a call for help. It's that courage.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Absolutely. Like, you took it's not easy to make that first call or walk in the first AA room. It takes courage.
Well, and to speak to Big T, how cool is it that he's even willing to come on the podcast? He could have been like, addiction podcast, I've never heard of these, but I don't want to, but he didn't. He showed up, right? He's here. Like, that's amazing. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you for coming on and using your platform to help us spread a message of hope that if you're in the depths of addiction, if you're in a mental health crisis, it's not too late. Reach out, whether it's to one of our sponsors, whether it's to a bishop, whether it's to a best friend, whether it's to a teammate, whether it's to a pastor, a priest, just ask for help.
Yeah. Well, the thing that I've learned through all of my experiences, the struggle is real.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I know we're talking about substance abuse and mental health, but there's so many times have just changed, mm-hmm. right? I mean, there were things to get into back in the day, but now,
sure,
from porn to social media, I mean, there's so many things that can take us,
can consume us,
and it's real. The struggle is real, and all of us, even though we sit here in these chairs and we know that a big part of our purpose is to be that service, but everybody struggles in something.
Well said.
And so we need each other.
Well said.
We need each other, man, and it's tough because I think I may have told you about my friend Kevin Sharp, who was a great up and coming country music singer. And I actually met him through Carl Malone when Carl found out I was interested in music. Came and stayed with us for a while, and I was supposed to take him to the airport. And on my way to the airport, he just broke down, and he said to me, I can't do this anymore. And I said, what are you talking about? And he talked to me about his addiction to Oxycontin. And so I turned him around from going back to where he was going, and he got into a rehab facility, and he was fine for a while, but then he got again to a place where didn't have that support system around him. I mean, he's in the country music business. He was, he was a budding superstar, and he got consumed. It just took his life eventually. And so all those things, all those memories and stories and things that happen are just they're part of us now, right? They're part of the world we live in. And I think that my job, my responsibility outside my own family, my own nest, if you will, is to use what I have. You guys use what you have to help people. And so we're all in this thing, man. Whether you're a basketball player or, whether you're a flamboyant dressing golfer like Doc. I like that fit though, Doc. I could rock a suit just like your shorts right now.
He's always looking fresh.
He does. He looks really,
have
really
some
good.
Beautiful suits.
Thank you. Thank you. But yeah, that's why we're here, dude. That's what we do. Even within our own struggles, the thing that helps us is helping other people. I mean, I wish
Amen
more
to
people
that.
would grasp onto that. This world would sure be a better place.
I love that. And I also like, to sit here and be fair to some of our listeners or the people, I'm just trying to think back to the people that I've counseled in the past. And if they're sitting over there in that chair, what some of the things that they would have to say. And, like you said, you're one of your anchors, and a big thing for you that kept you away from some of this stuff that can consume us is family and your upbringing. And not everybody has that, like I've worked with some people that frankly don't have a support system. They don't have that family solid anchor background, and my challenge would be go create it. Create what you don't have, because oftentimes the things that we're wanting and the things that we are really needing don't always show up the way that we think that they should. If you'd have told me one of my best friends was going to be this old flamboyant golfer sitting next to me, like I probably wouldn't.
/MD.
Just
to give some credit. All right.
Clown.
/ one of the funniest dudes that I know. In other words, things don't always show up the way that you think that they're going to show up. Today I golf every Friday with a group of sober dudes that sometimes I look around and it's like, it's not my college football buddies. Maybe in my mind, that's what I pictured friendships I wanted to look like. But you know what? Like, those dudes are some of the best guys I know. And we go out there and we have a good time, and we give each other a hard time. And we talk about some of the stuff that we're going through, and we can just be real and raw. And it's not a transactional relationship. There's none of us are out there paying each other or anything like that. And so it's just a beautiful thing. And so, yeah, I would say, if you're listening to this and you're like, yeah, those things do sound nice, and it would be nice to have that support system. It would be nice to have those things, man, try to find a way to create it and be open to how it's going to show up.
And reach out to us, because that's what we love to do, is to help, because it takes a village.
Absolutely.
We love doing that case management to help you create a support system. That's what treatment centers and treatment programs should be helping you with. And AA is there for, is that community.
That's why the alumni program's so important.
Huge.
Yeah.
Staying connected and having that. Because it's family's not about blood. Family's about who's there for you when things are hard.
Well said.
And I love it. I mean, we've got my family's here. They went and grabbed a ball. My 10-year-old and his buddy are here, and his buddy
basketball. You got to be real specific.
A basketball
on this podcast.
for Big T. Sure, he wants to get an autograph or something. But that friend comes from a foster family, and he didn't have that. Right, his father is in prison, and mother substance abuse issues, and we've just adopted them, these twins, and. Not formally, but they're with us every day.
Sure.
And we feed them, we love them, and we're helping them find that and create that family. So it's possible, no matter where you're at, no matter what your situation is. Keep your eyes open and be willing to step into a door that you might be uncomfortable stepping into to try to find better.
I love it, man. Doc, you got any words of wisdom?
I got nothing.
To part us with?
Appreciate Thurl Bailey coming on the podcast.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate you having me.
That's big for this podcast, for sure. We appreciate it. It'll grow our audience a little bit. So thanks for taking the time.
My pleasure.
Yeah,
good
great.
to be around good people, man.
Yeah.
Go Jazz.
Big T, you got any last remarks for our listeners?
No, I think I talked enough. I mean, I'm always grateful. I'm grateful to have gotten this far in life. My parents gave us every opportunity that we could afford to have at that time, and I hope I've taken it with. My parents have passed away, but I still live like they're here, and still never want to disappoint them in what I do. I'm sure I have along the way, every now and then, but I've raised all my kids are adults now, and they're out doing their own things, and they're on their own journey. They're making their own mistakes, but they know that they've got us. If they ever want to walk through those doors, and they have a sense of trust where they can come and talk to us about anything. So I think as a dad, as a parent, that's what you love, right? That's what you like. You like for your kids to want to come back, want to come home. That's why we still do a lot together, and so I'm blessed. I'm blessed in that way, and Yeah, I'm just grateful you guys would have me on, and hopefully that my presence here can make a difference.
Thank you so much. And I think you've talked just enough. Like, that's the whole reason we brought you on, is to you know, spread some.
We didn't have you on the podcast to listen to us. That would have been tragic.
Burning Man, you got any lasting?
I was going to say my recap is, and I hope my kids might be listening out there. I'll make them listen to that part of picturing Big T's mom with the fist at his jaw.
Yeah, there you go, baby. That's a
don't be average,
That's
type of thing. And I hope that they know that comes from a place of love, but also we do want you to remember where you came from, have respect, and do your best. And when you have the support around you, you can be better than average. But when you slip, when you fall, we're here. We love you. But our job is to push you. And kids, when you get pushed by coaches or parents, the only reason coaches and parents get on you is because they see more in you. They see better in you, and they know you can be better. So if no one's pushing you, look yourself in the mirror and say, what do I need to do to create better potential in myself? Because it's a good thing when people are pushing you a little bit.
Yeah. Absolutely. Love that. And my exit is just, thank you guys for listening to the episode. Appreciate all the love and support. And if you guys have any topics or any guests that you would like to see come on, the podcast, always reach out. Thank you guys so much, man. It's been great this morning.
Love you all.
Appreciate you.